Hey gang, it's Nathan, trans midwife here. I have decided to shake things up a little bit and let you see me. I need to get over myself and be okay with the world seeing me exactly as I am, because there are not many big trans guys out there visible, and there are loads of us, so I want to represent and be here for all of you. Today's topic is my kids, my little ones, my little people. So I hope the lighting and sound is okay. By the way, I am trying something new here. Right, so I have two little ones. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. Their birthdays are coming up this month, which is really exciting. How was it for me when I came out to them? So obviously, I'd always appeared quite gender fluid, I'd always had short hair, and it wasn't too much of a stretch to then talk to my bigger one and say, well, actually, I am starting to really understand that I feel like I'm a boy inside. And I was like, you know how, this is how I said it, I said, you know how my body is like yours, my body is it looks like a girl's body, and you know how I gave birth to you and all of that. Well, on the outside that's true, but on the inside I actually feel like a boy, and some people, I explained, are born with boys' brains and girls' bodies, and the other way around, or lack thereof. So when I first said it, she was a little bit emotional. She sort of said she's never liked change, my little girl, and she sort of said, oh, I don't want you to be different, I don't want you to change, I don't want you to be a boy. And that was a fair enough reaction, and she got a little bit tearful. That lasted one afternoon where she was sort of thinking it through, and she kept saying it, she kept repeating it as she was sort of trying to digest the information. So she's like, okay, so you have a girl's body but you feel like a boy, and she'd keep saying it. I kind of go, yes, that's right. And then I started to, so I sort of let that settle. And she went to bed that night, and in the morning she was quite happy, and she sort of started saying, you know, oh, mummy is a boy, is what she said. And I was like, yeah. And I kept reassuring her, you know, this won't change our relationship. And at first I did say to her, I'm still your mummy. You know, and I let her keep hold of that for a while. So, you know, I'm still your mum. And we sort of let that go for a few weeks. And I sort of explained, you know, every now and again I'd sort of remind her. I was like, oh, you know, I'm a boy, remember? And she'd go, oh, yes, yes. My husband started using male pronouns for me, and he and everything, and she started to pick that up. We didn't really ask her, she just started to do it as well. I guess it became normal. A couple of weeks later we had a little conversation. I think we were talking about my name, actually. So she said my old name, and I said, oh, you know, now I'm using Danny, which was the name I was using at the time. And she was like, oh, okay. So she accepted that, no problem at all. And then I said to her one day, she was just happily playing, you know, and I just sort of asked her to come over. And I said, it would make me really happy. You don't have to. This is when she's 4. She was 4. I said, it would make me really happy if you could start calling me Dada. How does that make you feel? And then she started trying it out, and I said, you know, there's no pressure, I just really like being called Dada and it would make me happy, but you know, if you still need to call me Mum, I understand. So there were several weeks where I was kind of both, and bless her, she just kept correcting herself. I never once corrected her. After we'd had that one conversation, she would say, mummy, I mean Dada, all the time, every sentence, bless her heart. And it's amazing how kids just try to do that for you without any prompting, and it is just pure love, pure acceptance, and something that adults don't really have the same ability to do. Yeah, she just blew me away. She absolutely blew me away. And she started calling me Dada, and now The only time she calls me mummy is when she's with a group of her friends and they're all talking about their mummy, and then she still uses mummy, I think, as a way to differentiate between me and her dad. But she does also sometimes say my other dad, which it's just like, oh, my heart, my chest, it is just wonderful to hear. So that's how she's just turning 5 this week, that's how she has been with it. So on the whole, amazing, and just little bits of emotion about change, but nothing difficult. And you know, we always reassure her about how our love doesn't change and how our relationship doesn't change. And I've made sure to sort of take her out on days just me and her. I know some trans guys do, they're quite happy to still be called mum or mama, or because they sort of feel like part of that mothering role, and I think that's, you know, amazing. And I was happy with that for a bit, and slowly it started to trigger me because it reminded me of what has been, and something that I'm kind of transforming away from. And you know, I do have a lot of that mothering role, and I think, you know, my partner does too, as the stay-at-home parent, and he's a cis man. So some great articles have been released recently about how should mothering and fathering actually be gendered roles, or should they just be a role that one parent performs? Because I would say in our house, you know, these days is more my husband doing the mothering kind of role, and then I go out to work as a midwife, as you all know. Yes, midwife. Yeah, so it's sort of like both those roles are being fulfilled, but we're pretty relaxed and fluid about it, which is nice. 2-year-old, no idea. We actually started using the word as a family just as she was starting to talk, and I maybe heard a few mums, but so quickly Dada was the one, and now she does that, and it's so cute. Please, you know, like, subscribe, share, and get these important messages out there. Thanks so much.